Hey guys, and welcome back. This is ChosenArchitect, and today we're jumping back into some more mechanical mastery. So I hope you guys are ready. So this phrase has been going through my head recently. It's trust the process. And well, today I'm going to be expanding on said process. And I think I have a color palette in mind. It's going to be really, really cool. Now, I still need to get that creative flight. So that's going to take a little bit of time. And we are going to make the Swift Wolf Rendingale. Now, it is going to cost EMC to run this, and we're going to need another item to keep on us as well that is going to allow us to use this Rendingale, but it's not super crazy to get this. We can go ahead and grab a bucket here, and we can pick this up, and we should be able to make this ring. So easy part out of the way, iron band. That's pretty straightforward and simple. Dark matter, however, we have to go through this kind of tedious process of making different types of fuels. So we need to take our philosopher's stone and we have to make this Mobius fuel. Thankfully, making one gives us one, or not Mobius fuel, this is actually alchemical coal. But we take this and we're gonna constantly upgrade it. Thankfully, it does carry its own EMC, so it's not like it's super crazy or anything to pull out enough, because we only need 4 of each. And overall, this ring only costs, I mean, if we take a look at it, 17, it's gonna cost under 100,000 FE, so that's not anything crazy. And now the feathers, we do have chickens laying around, so we should probably just whack a few chickens and we should be fine there. So here's the top tier fuel, which is Eternalis fuel. This is some pretty cool stuff. It's a fuel that actually lasts quite a while, has a really nice burn rate. Oh, and we also have, project expansion in here, which allows it to go even higher. We don't need it to go any higher though. We just need enough to make 1 dark matter, and then we can EMC that as well. So, and to handcraft this, there we go. We have the dark matter. That is one of many things that we are going to need in ProjectE, and is going to take a lot of EMC for. But before I start making like all kinds and just going all kinds of crazy on ProjectE stuff, I definitely want to make sure I have an efficient supply of EMC coming in. Our tree farm is just not going to cut it, but we'll be getting there soon. So long as I have the space to do everything, I think this is going to work out great. Please forgive me. I need your feathers. Now in this pack, there's way more options than just the Swift Wolf Rendingale. You don't have to go this route for creative flight. There's jetpacks, which don't offer creative flight, but offer a flight option. And there's like some rings and stuff I notice in here that offer some flight. So you can always go that route, but this route is pretty neat, and especially is going to be helpful early on for building. Now, it does come at a cost. It's not free flight. It does cost EMC to run. You can see that stored EMC value there. Whenever I activate flight by jumping, you can see that this is going to go down. And as soon as this hits a low level, it is going to consume this piece of glowstone. Now, all items that are in this center area here are fuel. So Eternalis fuel being 1000 EMC, well, that is going to be consumed as well if we had this in our inventory. Now, there's a way around this, and we can just create an item that stores a large quantity of EMC on its own. And that is in ProjectE. And we can use this. And that is going to be the little Klein stars. So just a basic Klein star should be more than enough to get this going. So if we search star, there we go. We see all the Klein stars. So the Klein star is a very basic item in its own right. We are going to need, it looks like 8 Mobius fuel to make 1 of them. But they do combine over and over again, and they start to really add up when you have more and more of them. So this is, an EMC battery, just like it said. And the way we put the EMC into it is actually this side over here. And now there's 50,000 stored EMC. And we can keep that in our inventory, and we have no need to put this raw fuel in there. It'll actually pull, this ring will pull from this Klein star, which is a lot more convenient, I think. Now, something I definitely want to do, as it'll get incredibly annoying, is, well, these sounds. Every time I activate flight, it is going to be doing this sound. And I don't know if I want to hear that all the time. So there's a mod in here called Muffler, and it's really nice. We can actually go in here and we can search reset sounds, and I can even go ProjectE, and there's the heal and uncharged sound. And what I could do is I can muffle it, and we can play it to hear what they are. but we can mute them or just muffle them and make them a little bit quieter. I think quiet is better. I mean, I still like to kind of hear it every now and then, but we can completely muffle it if we really wanted to. And so yeah, you can do this with any sound in the game, by the way, not just ProjectE. It's pretty neat. I love this mod. Now, another nifty thing that this ring can do, well, it can actually push projectiles away. If you shift right click, there's basically a giant bubble around me now. And if projectiles, which I don't think I have a bow or anything, but with projectiles, they won't hit me. And mobs even get pushed away from me. Do I have any arrows? Can I craft an arrow? No. I was going to try and test it on myself. But yeah, if a mob spawned, basically we would sort of push it away. It would be pushed away so many blocks, and then arrows sort of just bounce off the bubble shield that's around us while this is activated. But it does consume EMC. You can see right there, bam, and there went 64 more EMC. And you can keep it activated while you have flight. It turns red. But like I said, it does consume more EMC in that mode. So keep that in mind. So with all of that ready to go, we have flight and everything's looking good. That trust the process that I mentioned earlier, well, it's now time to trust said process, and I need to get to building. And I think getting the basics of this build and the structure of this build laid out, which we've already kind of got done, is going to be very important. So I'm expanding these out on the edges, giving it a little bit of thickness here, which I think is going to look really good. But I have acacia in my inventory, and this is where things are going to get incredibly interesting, because I want to outline this entire section on the outside here, like this, and then have another layer on top that starts the next level. And I want it to be sort of like this, right, as we go up. And I want this to be stripped, and this looks pretty cool. I really like the orange color of the acacia logs mixed with the black stone, and I feel like this could be a thing. This is looking really good already. Now, thinking ahead for all of the future stuff that is going to potentially happen here, because I think I'm also going to line the outside the same way. I'm thinking ahead because this is going to give me a layer here that'll be the roof. Then we'll have a layer in between that'll probably be an air block, right, in between the separations. And then we'll have another layer of the blackstone on the top. And so that gives me a little bit of space in between to have cables going through. And yeah, I think that's going to work. I really wish I could explain what just happened, but I don't think I can. My tree farm chopped every acacia log. What is wrong with this thing? It broke a tree that was apparently connected, and every log connected that was even out here that I just did was broken. What in the world? Now, to get the logs all lined up in the appropriate direction, I'm using the acacia wood, like the solid wood that you get that was added to Minecraft, this right here. And I've placed the template log down, and that placing it on its side allows me to get the same texture matched around, and I think that's going to look really good. And we have to work on this side, trying to get all of the corner pieces looking correct. Otherwise, it's going to be kind of sticking out like a sore thumb, and I don't really want that. Okay, this is starting to look pretty sexy. I like this. I like this a lot. Look at this. Oh, yeah, the orange. The orange just really looks... Wow, I was not expecting this. And I always have a problem figuring out what looks good with blackstone. I think I found it. Acacia, 100% for a factory style. Oh yeah, like definitely acacia goes really well with this blackstone. Now I'm going to be tearing down a lot of my machines, and I don't want anything to drop on the ground. So I think a magnet, definitely worth it. Yeah, I would upgrade, but I think this basic magnet is going to be more than sufficient at picking up items. Now, items you just toss, it won't pick up, but if we, like, for example, break the magma crucible, as you can see, it pretty much instantly goes into my inventory, which is going to be a necessary, wow, if I can talk, which is going to be a necessity, as, yeah, I have a lot of this stuff just sort of hovering, and I don't want to lose any of my create machines. Now, it is effectively deconstruction time, and I am trying my best to make all of this work. Oh boy, this is going to be, yeah, I've got to move my supporter signs. We've got to keep those. I might see if I can move them to RF tools. I don't know if I can make RF stuff yet, but yeah, it's deconstruction time. I am slowly but surely getting everything deconstructed. And yeah, water's about to spill everywhere, but thankfully I'll be able to clean that up most likely. But yeah, this is a whole mess. I'm so glad to see it go. It's gotta go. It's been long overdue. So I now have everything removed, and I've been working on this floor, and I really like this. I kind of wanted to go with the ProjectE logo sort of in the middle, and leaving room for, you know, all of our other stuff that's going to take place on these side walls, as I really need to get the infrastructure back up as soon as possible if I can, and then finish up the rest of the build now that I have the floor level sort of raised up. And I do have this on the bottom. I'm thinking about underneath this whole thing, providing like a couple of layers of dirt underneath it, just to make sure that we have sufficient space if I want to put water wheels or anything like that under the ground. So I now have the windows in, and I have the floor. Looks a little bit better now, I think. I've moved some things around, got some of my workstations moved. These were pretty much filled with enough resources. I'm going in now and trying to add some fine detail into the roof. And also, I've expanded this out a little bit. So I have this outer wall. I've got to figure out what I'm going to do with the inner walls here, and how I'm going to set up the expansions that are going to lead out here, because these are going to be their own little separate areas, each one of these leading out. So it has been a journey thus far, getting all of this put together and built, but it's been incredibly fun. Now, this is far from complete. Definitely trust the process, like we mentioned at the beginning of the video. Things will work out, and I've added layers to the bottom, got everything nice and filled out, and even added some holes here. And now the goal, I kind of want to have machines in the walls doing some stuff and make this sort of the refined storage mega hub. So I don't know if this pack is going to need anything super crazy, but I do want to utilize a lot of this space in this main area as well, just to look nice. And not only that, but this is going to be, like I said, the way that I utilize refined storage, and I'll have some stuff in the walls for it. As of right now, everything's moved in the middle. We still have our lovely design in the middle, which looks like the transmutation table, and the outside doesn't look too bad either. Now, the reason why I made these holes the way I did, and oops, it looks like I sort of messed up here. There we go. The reason I have these holes here is so that way this front is where the machines reside, and this back area gives me space to manage cables, because not all cables float together. So you do need some space. It's not like the days of old where we had some really nice cable management where all cables fit into one with Ender IO. We don't have that luxury. So we will have to have a bit more space in the back. Now, I think before we get anything else set back up, I think power is definitely going to be a necessity. So I wanted to test this out because I noticed that the magma crucible, well, it produces a lot of lava very quickly. And so if I give this one bucket of lava, right, I kind of want to see how much can it generate off of the one bucket of lava, and is it going to be reasonable to get power from it? So to just test this out, let's go ahead and EMC. Let's see. Let's EMC netherrack, which is actually a better alternative. And that produces a bucket. And we've only used, from the looks of it, we barely used any lava. Looks like 200 millibuckets maybe. So off of one bucket of lava, actually a half. Yeah, wow. We've barely used any. Okay. So this is definitely going to be able to generate enough lava to successfully power a stack of dynamos. So I guess let's go ahead and get this set up. I think I can use this area as a means for the lava transfer. Yeah, but I might need to space it out a little bit, give myself some room. How do I want to set this up? So I definitely know what I want to do here. So what I'm going to have is the crucible is going to sort of sit right here on top of some cables. We're going to need some fluid pipes to be able to get this to work fully. But the magma crucible can go down here and can be powered by all of these in some form or fashion. Actually, I might put it on the side here. This machine is not going to be visible what's actually generating the lava, But on the sides, everything's going to be routed here. And then the power can route down through the middle. Oh, this is going to be kind of cool. Now, to feed the magma crucible, well, we've already done this over and over again. And that's going to be to utilize an EMC link. And then we're going to feed that EMC link netherrack. Right? We're going to tell it to pull out netherrack. That only costs 1 EMC. So we're going to be generating a lot of power from basically nothing. And then the logistical transporter should go down here. And this is going to be sending items. So we need to make sure we say, hey, input from the bottom. And that should get this jump started for the most part. Get that hooked in. There we go. And so that's going to send netherrack. And you want to use netherrack because that is going to be one of the best things for this. And then that lava, we should just get it piped in with some pipes. And I think using the mechanism pipes is still the best option as of right now. They're really good. They're cheap. And we have a little bit of steel laying around, so might as well. And so what we can do is route this around the bottom. I might end up changing this up just a bit and going a little bit lower so that way I can hide this up top and make sure there's something at least underneath the machines. Actually, you know what? It might be fine doing this. This is going to be kind of an interesting looking structure here for the power, and I do kind of want it kind of sticking out. We could always, I guess if we didn't want to look at it, we could sort of cover it up with trapdoors or something, and it would make it look a little bit better. But let's be fair, this looks pretty darn cool. So I'll output on the sides for the magma crucible, set that, and that should automatically find all of its place through all of these and give a little bit of lava there. And now we have power being generated. And of course, these can be upgraded. And I think you can get these going up to like 640 RF per tick at max upgrades, which is pretty crazy. So this fits in beautifully. And I can't wait till I can make these pipes look blue. And I went ahead and added 3 more. 3 more of the exact same setup. Everything's set up the exact same way. And it almost looks like these like sort of dip. They're like being pushed up out of the ground. As if this is like a capping system. Like, I don't know, like they're being like fuel rods, or I guess that's what I'm looking at. Fuel rods are being lifted up out of the ground. I don't know. I really like the idea of that. But yeah, this is generating quite a bit of power for us, which is going to be really good. If I pop down underneath, what I need to do is I need to get this cable, this universal cable, sort of spread around. I think at the moment I definitely need to get this for sure tapped into my refined storage system. Because at the moment I'm just using coal to power my refined storage system, but I'd prefer to have a much cheaper method, which as you can see, we're only using like, I don't know, 2 EMC. Really, realistically, it's like 4 EMC a second if this was running at full speed. But currently it's backed up. So yeah, it's not even running yet, really. Now at this point, I'm trying to come up with a clever solution and a clean looking solution to our first EMC gain that we need to do. So basically recreating that massive setup, dude, bro's in my face. Recreating that massive setup that we had initially, but doing it now that we have refined storage, because I believe this can be made way, way smaller. And the way we're going to do that is by using a request system from refined storage. And so all we have to do is request things. So I have a pattern grid down here, and we're going to use refined crafters to do the crafting bit. And then we're going to send things back and forth depending on when it's needed. So there's some cool things that we can do here with this refined storage mod. Now there's something pretty cool that we should be able to make here in just a moment. And if we look at ProjectE, there's this interface, right? Now I don't have enough of the regular because I didn't craft enough backup of these, I don't think. Let's see, regular, I have 1. So I didn't craft enough of these, but this thing is really cool because it's supposed to let us hook our it's supposed to let us hook our system into refined storage, like all of our transmutation stuff into it. And if that's the case, then that means we can just use refined storage to send all of the items around, and it will become our ultimate piping mod. And I think that is going to work. I don't know. Let's let's go ahead and first just get our EMC back, because I have a bad feeling like I don't want to run out of EMC and then have to start from scratch. Now I have to say, this is probably as simple as it's going to get for the basic setup, like redoing the basic setup so we can gain EMC. It's pretty darn simple here. So the thing I'm going to need is bauxite. That's going to go onto this. And then we'll have iron, which is the other one, right? Oh wait, no, this needs to be copper. I am doing it wrong. Whoops, already. Already I'm leading to the wrong thing. Yep, you don't need to be in there. You don't need to be cooking that up. Okay, so actually bauxite needs to be on one of these. Copper, which I get bauxite and copper confused because they look very similar. That is going to have to go here because we're making the rods. Man, repeating this this process. Goodness. And then iron. Okay, so yeah, this is about as simple, like I said, as it's going to get. So this should be sending bauxite here. We need to make sure it, for some reason, it doesn't look like it's connecting. There we go. So all of that should lead into this, and then should get pulled into here via the storage drawer with the drawer controller. Now here's a problem. Here's a problem that I'm having. This still has that same issue where this will eventually overfill with copper rods. So I'm going to have to do a thing, and I think it's going way faster than double its speed. I'm going to have to figure out another solution to be able to get these to process correctly. So after setting up 2 more of the bauxite and of the iron, I now have 2 of the bauxite and iron and 1 of the copper line running, and that seems to be keeping everything balanced as it should be. Which is really nice. And so this should just maintain so long as we get some nice upgrades on the multi-servo, because at the moment this servo is not fast enough. It looks like we'd almost need like 2 or 4 of these to keep up, but some speed upgrades could potentially help. Now, I'm thinking this all could be fixed with a couple of linkage amplifiers. I mean, I can do 3 of these per machine, but this main machine, with its current upgrades, the linkage amplifiers may be just what this needs. It definitely goes a little bit faster, but is it going to be fast enough to keep up with the one machine? And it looks like it is. It looks like now it is effectively keeping up because... Oh, just barely. I think this is still going to increase, but it is just right there at maintaining, I think. So now that we have a positive flow of EMC coming in, I think now we can start to work on all of the other things. And I can just let that go and I don't have to babysit it anymore, which is going to be fantastic. Now, I did go ahead and set up a exact copy of the other side over here. So I just made all of the machines, got everything doing the exact same thing. But this is to hopefully get a simplified version wrapped around and make this corner over here the tier 2. So taking this and upgrading it into the regular essence, it's going to require a bit more, but it gives us a little bit to work with, as we want this producing EMC, which means we want these basic ones here that this one's producing to be used for the next tier, and so on and so forth. So we might end up having a duplicate copy of these setups over here as well, and then ultimately for the last tier, which I think there's only 3 tiers now that I look at it, right? There's only 3. There's the advanced, which I think is our next one. So we have the blue and the yellow, and then we have, so this is the blue, then we'll have the yellow, and then we'll have ultimately what will probably lead to the next tier, hopefully on the other side. I mean, that's pretty cool. That was like unintentional, but it's working out so far. So I kind of want to get steel started, and to get some steel going, I'm going to need to get coal set up as well. So let's go ahead and first get the iron. This is kind of how I'm going to be producing iron. So I'll take the basic raw iron. I'll get that hooked in. Oop. This is going to pull the raw iron in, and then at the bottom, it's going to export the iron into a metallurgic infuser. Now the metallurgic infuser, they have their own inputs here, and you can set up auto extract. We can go ahead and turn all of the sides off. I want the top to insert, and then I want the bottom to be the output. Now you can move this around so you can see, and we also need to define what this side is going to be accepting. So we need to make sure we have a yellow slot is yellow, which is this right here. Now to do this, I'm going to need to set up basically an enrichment chamber. Now the enrichment chamber is going to hopefully split. We're going to have it output to the side. So this will be blue. And then the input will be from the back. Actually, the input's probably going to be from the top because I'm going to have the back being power for everything. So let's go ahead and change that. We'll have the top be the input. And the enrichment chamber is basically going to be taking in raw coal and turning it into enriched coal, which goes a lot further and is going to help in our production and not use as much EMC. And then down here, we're going to have another metallurgic infuser that is going to be down here. And this is the one that's going to take the what is it called? The enriched iron. Because it's a two-step process. It's going to be taking the enriched iron, which also receives coal. And this is then going to be sending that because it can send items between itself. But you can't, it will not go ahead and actually pull items from chests. So that's why I have to pipe into this or use chests. So this one down here, I'm going to be hopefully getting some extra out of this because I'm sure this is going to fill up before it completes. And once it has some extra, it's going to put it down here. It's hard for me to explain sometimes, but let me go ahead and show you with a logistical transporter pipe here. So if I put that logistical transporter right here, we should have our items going from the top. I have to make sure this also is an output. And then we need to configure this, make sure the auto input is on here, and make sure we have the top as an input. And this side is going to be a yellow input. There we go. And then I don't know where the output's going to go just yet. Probably the bottom. That's really the only place it can go, so might as well configure that. Perfect. So now we have it almost all set up. Now, we do need to get coal, and I need to automate coal. So how am I going to go about doing that? Well, I actually have some cables over here, which are set up, and I can just put the refined storage over here, and refined storage, believe it or not, can break down our materials for us. Now, this isn't the most efficient way, but it is probably one of the most convenient ways. And then I'm also going to need an exporter because this is going to be handling things inside of our inventory. So I think right over here, if I put this coal right here, I can go ahead and use a destructor and a constructor. So we have a deconstructor and a constructor. And if I put them right here, this is going to be kind of cool. We can tell it what to construct. So I want coal ore to be one of the things that it constructs. So coal ore, and I want it to deconstruct coal ore over here. Now, I don't think I have to worry too much about what this is going to be handling. It should break once it's plugged in. I'll find that out here in a moment. But I want to control this. I don't want this to just constantly keep going. So what I'm going to do is if there is a certain amount inside my refined storage system, I want to make sure to shut this off. To do that, I'm going to be using a detector. This is probably one of the most important items in refined storage, in my opinion, as it even allows you to automate things without having crafters. So what is the detector going to do? Well, we're going to have to set up a rule, and that rule is going to be if we have more than 128 coal inside of our refined storage, I want it to emit a signal when it goes above that amount. So if it has 128 or more in here inside of our storage, then it's going to emit a signal, and I want that signal to shut this thing off. So only work with a redstone signal, only work without a redstone signal. So as soon as it receives a redstone signal, it will shut this off. So the goal is to get it up and running. It should be plugged in. We're going to have to get this side hooked in. You can see it broke the one that was there. And this can also receive fortune as well. There are some fortune upgrades that we could put in here, but you have to have fortune books. So at the moment, I don't have the fortune. So I'm just going to live with what this produces right now, which is not going to be great. It's going to only be producing one coal for that large amount of EMC. But later on, it'll probably produce more, which will be super effective. So now that I have that going, all I have to do is have an exporter that goes here, and we almost have this whole thing set up. This exporter just needs coal, and then we just need to feed this power, and we already have coal in our reserves, so that's why this isn't operating, and I don't think I have the ability to pull all of this coal out. It's going to go right back in my inventory. There it goes. As you can see, we're under 128, so it is starting to produce. And as soon as we go above that, as you can see, it has stopped. So that is working out perfectly, and that technically has that automated. It's a fun way of doing it, and I really like automating with refined storage because it is quite simple and straightforward. So now the rest is history here, right? We have that going. We just got to get things powered up, and we're going to have steel being produced. That's going to be pretty cool, right? So I'm going to need a few more cables, and since we're using all of this steel, we definitely need to make sure that we are maintaining it. Now this is going to be used in this setup, but later on we can easily set more of these up. And once this is fully upgraded, we'll have more steel than we'll ever need. So just keep that in mind. Yep, so there it goes. It's doing the enriching process, and we already have iron inside. So hopefully this will take that enriched and feed it. It's going to feed it over here, which is perfect. And once this is maxed out, by the way, once this carbon is fully maxed out and this is maxed out, it's probably when we're going to start to see results. Until then, we're going to have to wait till this goes or make some upgrades for it. But yeah, and this also needs to be dumped. And oh, nope, there it goes. So it's round robining. Oh, that's really nice if it's doing that. It does appear to be round robining. I hope. Well, nope, there it just went down in here. But there we go. There's our steel dust. And the only thing we have left to do, I guess, is to add a redstone furnace, and it's producing steel. And well, guys, with all of this done today, it did take quite a bit to get this episode done, and I hope you guys enjoyed. And of course, the best way to show your support is by clicking that subscribe button. And also give this video a huge thumbs up and commenting something down below. Maybe there's a way that you would have done this differently, and I love reading your comments and learning from methods that maybe you've discovered. That's probably the best way to grow in this community, is simply by sharing ideas. And I thank you guys so much for watching. And of course, it's now time to thank the supporter of today's video. And that huge thanks is going to go to Lil Shoddy 101. Thank you so much for your amazing support, by the way, over on the Discord, becoming a Discord premium member and supporting in one of the best ways possible, making episodes like today's absolutely doable. And I thank you guys so very much for watching and contributing. And of course, I would love to see you in the next episode. So be sure yet again to click that subscribe button. And of course, as always, thanks for watching. Bye.